Rocky Mountain National Park. Preserving over 400 square miles of spectacular scenery. A magnificent collection of nature's wonders. A powerful testament to diversity. Rocky Mountains, a spine of rugged ridges stretching from Alaska to Mexico. Created by powerful uplifts and worn down by ice and water over millions of years. These broad valleys and steep canyons are continually eroded by the endless rush of water. Water does much of the work here. An ever-changing natural quarry, never at rest. Since the end of the last ice age, about 10,000 years ago, the park's glaciers have gradually retreated. Warmed by the Earth's changing climate and melted back by the sun's persistent and powerful rays. The Rockies' rugged peaks form a high ridge known as the Continental Divide, shedding precipitation in two directions. Snow melt from the east side travels towards the distant Atlantic. On western slopes, water flows toward the sunset. Here, the headwaters of the mighty Colorado River begin their long journey to the Pacific. The park's wild landscape contains some of the most spectacular scenery on Earth and provides an opportunity to restore our connections with the natural world. This is a land of extremes, where mountains create their own weather. Nature weaves an intricate web of life among all things. The terrain invites exploration and broadens experience. At higher elevations, the spirit of the mountain prevails and offers awe and inspiration. Above 11,500 feet, the air thins and sunlight intensifies. The harsh climate makes it impossible for large trees to survive. This is the windswept realm of the alpine tundra. Winter dominates most of the year. Winds race at more than 100 miles an hour. Deep snows and sub-freezing temperatures give way to a pleasant but brief summer. This high alpine environment is a wondrous expression of life at altitude. Some tundra plants are dwarf versions of those found below. All have adapted to the harsh conditions of intense ultraviolet radiation, drying winds, and nighttime temperatures below freezing. Tundra plants and rocks around them constantly absorb the sun's warmth, then slowly release it. By lying close to the ground, they create their own invisible microclimate, where just a few inches from the Earth's surface, temperatures can be 30 degrees warmer than the surrounding alpine air. While these high alpine specimens are extremely hardy, they are vulnerable to human trampling. For at least 10,000 years, humans have been a part of this natural landscape. Paleo-Indians began their trail of human history, leaving behind scattered signs of their culture. Later, the Ute traveled through this region, living off the land as early as 6,000 years ago. Ute traditions speak of the creator, Sinawat, who told them, "I will place you high in the mountains so that you will be close to me." Arapahoes arrived in this region in the mid-1800s. They tell stories of a great spirit called the Man Above, who made these mountains to separate them from their enemies. European settlers arrived, upsetting the delicate balance of these native cultures. The allure of abundant wildlife drew fur trappers and traders to the Rockies during the early 1800s. Wolves and grizzly bears were so aggressively hunted that their populations would never recover here. In 1820, Major Stephen H. Long approached these mountains from the eastern plains with the men of the Western Expedition. Among the peaks Long mistook for clouds upon his first inspection was the same mountain that would one day bear his name. Some 50 years later, famed geographer and scientist John Wesley Powell led the first recorded expedition to the summit of Long's Peak. English traveler and writer Isabella Bird did not consider herself a mountaineer by any stretch. Though she felt extreme panic at times, she accompanied Rocky Mountain Jim to the top of Long's Peak in 1873.
It was something, at last, to stand upon the storm-rent crown of this lonely sentinel of the Rocky Range, on one of the mightiest of the vertebrae of the backbone of the North American continent, and to see the waters start for both oceans, uplifted above love and hate and storms of passion, calm amidst the eternal silences, fanned by zephyrs and bathed in living blue, peace rested for that one bright day on the peak.
Many have followed her footsteps to the top of the 14,255-foot summit of Long's Peak. By the 1870s, the land was opened to homesteading. Loggers and miners, followed by dude ranchers, came seeking a livelihood from nature's bounty. Prospectors and miners searched the expanse of these mountains for gold and silver. Ambitious miners would soon find out that these mountains offered more hardship than gold. Very little was ever found. Now only ghosts stake their claims in towns like Gaskell and Lulu City. One area pioneer, Joel Estes, was drawn to these mountains in 1859 by rumors of good hunting. He raised cattle and sold deer and elk meat to the markets in Denver. In 1864, a Denver newspaperman bestowed the name Estes Park upon this area. As more and more people discovered the wild beauty of this place, tourism began to take hold, and the great western expanse of endless frontier began to slip away. Around 1900, a national conservation movement captured the nation's attention. It soon became evident that without protection, the wild character of these lands would disappear forever. Locally, naturalist Enos Mills took up the cause for protecting and preserving this spectacular scenery. Along with many local supporters, Mills championed the cause to have this portion of the Rocky Mountains designated as a national park. The creation of the park in 1915 made Rocky Mountain one of the earliest national parks in America. Recognizing that wild lands are vital to the human spirit and to the diversity of life on Earth, the movement to save our national treasures in the name of future generations became symbolic of the democratic ideals of a growing nation. As the automobile became more common, roads were built to accommodate the wave of early visitors. First Fall River Road was constructed between 1913 and 1926 over the Continental Divide. Then between 1929 and 1933, Trail Ridge Road was built stretching 10 miles above the tree line, offering spectacular views into the heart of the park. Visitors are drawn to the park for the magnificent scenery and abundant wildlife. Bighorn sheep and elk, following instinctual urges, migrate across the Rockies from season to season. Rocky Mountain bighorn sheep have horns that grow their entire lives, the spiral winding ever tighter. Each fall, Rocky Mountain elk make their presence known. Crashing antlers and bugle calls announce the breeding season, known as the rut, when bull elk compete for the right to mate with females. addition to bighorn sheep and elk, there are hundreds of other species that make up the wild community of Rocky Mountain National Park. Many animals are rarely seen, simply going about their business in a place where their intrinsic right to life is undeterred. To travel these wandering paths, to glimpse firsthand wildlife and wild lands, brings us closer to their spirit and provides us with an uncommon perspective. Rocky Mountain National Park offers the special gift of adventure and awareness. Whether pursuing the challenges of rugged alpine trails or following the gentle meandering paths below, each person gains the good tidings of these mountains and discovers a personal perspective different from their everyday life. Today's travelers to Rocky Mountain National Park join an enduring human procession across time and place, seeking to experience the same wildness as those who went before, and of those who will inevitably follow. Here we discover our connections with the eternal rhythms and patterns of nature, preserved with the help of our continued stewardship as Rocky Mountain National Park.